Welcome to Share a Pint, where we tap into the craft beer scene. I'm Jerry Hulla, your host.
Today I'm talking with Jon Zerivitz from Union Craft Brewing. Thanks for being on the show, Jon.
Thanks for having me, Jerry.
Well, Union recently celebrated their 8th anniversary as an online event. So talk a little bit about that experience.
Well, we are very used to celebrating our anniversaries in a much different way. We have been growing a huge in-person event year after year. I think our 7th anniversary, we had almost 3,500, 4,000 people. And we produce a big concert, and we have just tons of beers and cask beers and all these bars and tons of food, local food come out. And it's really this amazing event that we work all year long on. So we were 3/4 of the way through the planning and production of our 8th anniversary party when COVID hit. And we delayed for a while to even cancel it because just no one knew what to expect for the summer. It was still months away, and so we were hopeful that through some miracle we'd all be able to get together and gather again. But by the beginning of May, the writing was on the wall. We were going to have to cancel it. So we did that, and we put our heads together and came up with a new idea. The sort of online portion was a bit of an afterthought, if I'm being totally honest. We didn't really know how to pull off an online event. We were looking for bands and other entertainment to maybe do a streaming event with, but that was proving to be difficult to find a proper place to produce that. And so we really focused on creating these special beers for the anniversary, which we would have done anyway, except this year they were all in package form, so they were all canned. And then we thought, what extra value can we add? Union's approach is always, how can we sort of surprise and delight people? So we came up with the box idea so that we could include things that we do every year, like a signature glass, but also be able to produce new items and present it in a cool, unique way. And you could sort of celebrate our anniversary at home safely. And then we decided to at least get together, myself and my partners, Adam Benish and Kevin Blodger, to at least be together and to taste the beers online with our community of people who would like to join. And we put a call out to some of our fans and supporters who might create a congratulatory video for us. So those were interspersed in the conversation. And we had Eddie Murray, who Hall of Fame Oriole, who we have a tribute beer out called Steady Eddie. He did a video for us. Justin Tucker from the Ravens, he did a video for us, as well as some of our more local friends in the industry who either joined us live or sent us in a video. So it was a fun night, and it was just nice to chat about our successes and share some great memories of previous anniversary parties.
Yeah, no, I thought it was well done. I think, like you said, those events are they're new for everybody, and so they're hard to figure out how do you pull it off. But the surprise guests were definitely cool. That was awesome. And then getting to hear from, like you said, some of your local partners and friends that you've known for a while, and telling old stories and showing pictures from past anniversaries. So I enjoyed it. It was pretty cool.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah. Well, you touched on it, but part of the celebration, you said you offered for pre-sale the 8-box. And it had 4 specialty beers for your anniversary, glassware, some other really cool swag. So talk a little bit about how that concept came about and what all went into it, and then share how that added to your celebration.
Sure. So the initial idea was the anniversary party in a box. How could we sort of distill down what we do every year and kind of throw it into a cool package that you could come and pick up for us and be able to celebrate at home. So the centerpiece of this, so it was our 8th anniversary. The theme quickly became the Magic 8 Ball, and we made a custom Magic 8 Ball, Union branded Magic 8 Ball. and that was going to be the centerpiece of the box. And then these beautiful beers that my production team was creating in honor of our 8th anniversary. Each one of those had some unique branding, and we worked with some of the local artists that we love to collaborate with on the labels. And then we went from there. So you've got your beers, you've got the 8-ball, and then just some other fun pieces of swag that go along with it. So there was a custom bandana, a really fun set of double duck pin playing cards that featured our Zadie as the Joker. So for your listeners who aren't aware, Adam, my partner, Adam Benish's grandfather, he's 101 years old. He works at the brewery, folding all of our case trays, and his image is featured on the case tray. And he's become a bit of a celebrity at the brewery, as well as kind of a mascot. So we threw him in the deck as the Joker. There was a custom enamel pin and some new stickers, and overall, and of course a glass. So we always do an anniversary glass. And you know, we wanted to present it in a really cool package. So we had custom foam cut, and everything sat in its right place, and it was in this cool like suitcase box that lifted up. You know, to us, it felt like the least we could do to still acknowledge, you know, another lap around the sun for our 8th anniversary. And I was super proud of not just the way we pulled off the box, and between us and your listeners, we did this in record time. I mean, by the time we had really come up with the concept of the box, we did not have a lot of time until we needed to actually put them out. So we had a full team working on it, and to be honest, what I was most proud of were the beers themselves. The beers that we produced, I thought, were really high quality and really represented what Union does well. So I was excited about that.
Yeah, absolutely. There were some great ones. I saved ours and shared that with some friends. I had a friend that's getting ready to head overseas for the military to Germany, and I was like, okay, well, you're gonna have to partake of these beers before you go. I mean, like this is a great experience. And you know, he's not from the area, so it was kind of cool to sit around with him and another friend of mine who's been here, say, here are all the little hidden gems and Easter eggs of stuff that you don't get. You know, here's what the Enchanted Forest means to people from this area. You know, get the reference of, you know, Willy Wonka and the juicing room. I'm like, come on, you know. So yeah, I thought you guys did a really good job. I mean, you guys always have some really cool packaging. Like you said, you work with some great local artists, and you're always changing and trying to match your artists with, you know, what your vision is for it. And I thought it was great. I mean, it was a really cool thing to add into the stay-at-home celebration.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of your space down there, you have a bit of a unique space called the Union Collective. So it's sort of a complex where you have other businesses like the Creamery and Earth Treks and Vent and things like that all share this same space. So talk with us about what went into that decision, and then how that's benefited all the businesses. Yeah,
so the Union Collective grew out of our need to expand from our original location. We were down on Union Avenue, just about 3/4 of a mile away from our current space. And we began this search for a new location. And at that time, we were just sort of thinking about our needs. We needed to expand. We thought we needed about 40,000 square feet. And we were searching all over Baltimore for a unique location. And meanwhile, there was this 150,000 square foot warehouse sitting really close to the brewery, basically on just the other side of the Jones Falls River from where our original location was. We had taken a look early on in our search at the building, but it was such a huge, enormous building. It didn't make sense for our needs. So we continued the search, and as we were going through this 8-month-long, almost year-long search for a new location, we began to think about some of our friends in the local small manufacturing scene who had been successful in their startup phase and needed to expand themselves. So they were basically in the same boat as us. The difference being that manufacturing seems to always move to the cheapest location because they're not customer facing. They genuinely sell wholesale into the market that way. And the consumer doesn't necessarily connect with the actual place of manufacturing. Whereas in craft beer, it's just part of the culture. So everyone loves to come to see the beer being made and then sit in the tap room and sample what's being made right through the glass. But that doesn't seem to exist for other small manufacturers. And we began to question why that is. And we thought about, well, what if we created a home for all of these growing small manufacturers, and we could sort of share this idea that if people were coming to see beer being made, why wouldn't they like to see ice cream being made, or whiskey being made, or wine being made, or coffee being roasted, and then be able to pick those products up right there, know that they were being made right there in their backyard or right in the city center rather than on the outskirts of the city. And so we revisited that building that was right around the corner, and we said, this is it. It offers not only the physical space between the four walls, but it sits on almost a campus in and of itself that's sort of sheltered from the community around it. And for years and years had only been an industrial site and had never offered the residents that are all around it anything. There was no reason for anyone to come there unless you were working in the warehouse. And now we've created a vibrant community hub that is of a lot of value to the neighborhood itself that it sits in. So we're real proud of it, and it continues to grow and to expand, and there's new things coming all the time. So we're really excited about the Union Collective.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about that before and tease that a little bit. Is there any more that you can kind of tease as to what might be coming into that development? Because I know you guys are working on some stuff.
Well, actually, just today, the first sort of teaser announcement of Baltimore Spirits Company, whose distillery is in the warehouse in the Union Collective, has just signed on to take over another space and open a cocktail bar. So they will be moving. They'll be moving all of their tastings, all of their bottle sales, and creating a really unique experience to actually enjoy mixed cocktails of their spirits right there in the collective. So they will sit between Vent Coffee Roaster and the Wine Collective, which recently opened as well. And just to touch on the Wine Collective a little bit, they recently opened their doors. They are Maryland's first urban winery, certainly Baltimore's first winery within the city limits. And they have a beautiful space, and they're offering, you can go in there and sit at their bar and have glasses of wine, and as well as lots of little, they're called pinchos, like Spanish tapas. Mm-hmm. And it's really a great vibe in there, and they add a lot to the whole collective as well.
Well, that's good. I know whenever you can expand and entice people to come into a new area for more than just one thing, like you're talking about, that's always a nice opportunity. And with your relationship with other local businesses and things, that's really cool that you guys can work together on how can you enhance each other's businesses and help each other out.
That's right.
Well, we've all been adapting to COVID-19 these last several months. So share with our audience what you've done to adapt your business model since you have such a large tap room and outdoor beer garden.
Yeah, this has really hit us hard as it has with almost all small businesses. But we are so uniquely driven to provide a physical space for people to be together. I mean, beer unites is our slogan. We are union. We want people to be together. So it's been really difficult for us to adapt to that. However, I was incredibly proud of my team. We pivoted as quickly as we possibly could. We teamed up. So in our tap room, we have another small business called Well Crafted Kitchen. Well Crafted Kitchen does wood-fired pizzas, as well as some really nice other dishes and food. And they took the lead on allowing not just Union, but everyone in the collective to add their inventory to their online platform for pickup. So almost, I don't know, within the first 2 weeks of lockdown, everybody in the collective had their full inventory available to be ordered online and picked up at our dock. So they spearheaded that, and then we branched off of that, and we started doing home delivery in the area. and we are still doing both of those programs. You can order both of those online. And then we were much more careful and deliberate about when to open for any kind of public on-site consumption. And so our beer garden has been open for about a month now, and we have pretty strict protocols in place. You definitely got to read the rules before you come in, but it's almost all contactless. You order through an app, you go and pick up your beers, you come back to your table. We have kind of strict mask wearing policies and are being as careful as possible. We take public health incredibly seriously and obviously need to protect our staff as well. So, we're doing everything we can to both keep our physical space open and give the public some sense of normalcy and an outlet to get out of the house and sit and have a beer outside. I'm not sure what it will look like as we get into the colder months, but we'll certainly adapt and do everything we can.
Well, and that's one of the things. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. And the number of breweries that maybe really weren't equipped to handle, let's say, outdoor seating or some way to do something to bring money back towards the tap room. Some people kind of jumped in a little quick, and I was a little leery watching kind of what happened. But with you guys, you were clearly, like you said, very careful. And when I went down to pick up the APOCs before the anniversary celebration, I could tell just with that, just how the pickup was set up for that box and how things were done, that you guys were really particular. And I actually personally appreciated how much care you guys put into it and how gracious your staff was. And, just everything I thought was really, really done well. And it may not have seemed like a big deal, but to someone like me who has some older family members and worried about what that could mean, I've really curbed what I do for visiting breweries. I mean, we've shifted to this model where we go remote instead of shooting in the breweries, which we love to do. But your place really, really made me feel comfortable and made me feel good about, craft beer people trying to look out for people in the community. So I definitely want to, put that out there for you to know and for our audience to know. You guys do it right.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that feedback. It's one of these polarizing things that, you're infringing on people's rights. And we've had some tense moments even in doing it, but we believe very strongly in it. And we're going to continue to look out for you and everyone else and our staff as well. So thanks. Appreciate it.
You bet. Absolutely. We recently talked with Marcus Baskerville at Weather Souls about his Black is Beautiful initiative. Now, Union's one of over 20 Maryland breweries that got involved with this cause. There are over 1,000 breweries worldwide. Tell us about your version and when it's going to be released.
So we are thrilled to participate in this amazing program. Our Black is Beautiful entry is a black IPA, so we are differing from the sort of imperial stout that I think most breweries are doing. Black IPA is a style that we have always loved, and we know it kind of was a flash in the pan for a moment, but this isn't our first foray into the Black IPA, and we've been wanting to bring it back for quite some time, so this seemed like the perfect opportunity. And I believe ours is getting packaged this week. So we should see a release very soon on our Black is Beautiful offering.
Awesome. That sounds great. Well, we'll circle back into you guys specifically at Union, and not just the Black is Beautiful initiative, but you get involved with a lot of different charitable causes. Not too long ago, you raised $10,420 for the Baltimore Restaurant Relief Group with your Somebody to Lean On beer. So tell our audience a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so right when the pandemic hit, a friend of ours, Dave Seal, created the Baltimore Restaurant Relief Fund. And his goal was just to help out all of these restaurant employees who were out of work, who had needed assistance in navigating unemployment. It was for small business owners in the food and beverage industry to navigate the PPE loans, just kind of any help and assistance people needed to work through this that were in the industry. He was there to offer that, as well as create a community of help. We have these daily meetings that were all remote at the time. Our heads were spinning about what we needed to do. But one of the things we knew that we could do, because we were deemed essential, our business was still operating. We were still making beer. And we knew that we could make a batch of beer that could help out this group. The concept came from not only wanting to help, but specifically helping this group of people, because these are the restaurant industry are the front lines for what we do. They handle our beer every day. They sell it. They are the ambassadors to our brand. We wanted to take care of them. They're very important to us. So somebody to lean on. We made a double IPA. We knew that a double IPA would be a great style that would sell very well. We're all huge music fans at Union. We've done musical tribute beers several times. Right before that one, we had done a IPA called Brain Salad, which was the tribute to Dr. John, famous New Orleans piano player. And Bill Withers had passed away this year. Bill Withers wrote the song "Lean on Me," and that just seemed very appropriate for this project. And so we brewed up Somebody to Lean On double IPA. And we donated 100% of the profits to the Baltimore Restaurant Relief Fund, and it went to provide microloans for out of work restaurant employees, and we were really proud to help in that situation.
Oh, and it was great. I mean, it's good to see you giving back to the community like that. And I would have to think, you kind of mentioned your mantra a little bit earlier, Beer Unites. It seems like that might be some of the story behind why you chose that. The amount of community involvement and things that you do. Is that kind of where Beer Unites comes from, or what do you really want it to mean?
We believe that wherever good beer is being made or even consumed, that people will gather from all walks of life and be able to share what we think is a humble beverage that is intended for everyone to love and to enjoy together. And beer makes people happy, and beer brings people together. I know a lot of people say that, but it is so true. And it's not just a beer, and a brewery is not just a beer factory, but it's a community hub. And that's one of the things that drew us to the craft beer industry to create Union in the first place. It takes a village to really make a brewery successful, not just the beer itself. And we're very proud, and we put a lot into the liquid itself, but all of the people that have their hands in the beer who come together to produce it, to everybody that works at the brewery, to the people in the restaurants who serve it, to the consumers who drink it, everybody coming together into one common goal. And Union has always been there for that. That's what we really truly believe in, and we feel like now more than ever we need to unite. We live in such divisive times, and if there's any small thing that we can do to bring some people together through our platform, which happens to be beer, that's what we're going to do.
Oh, that's great. It reminds me, we talked with Zach Rissmiller from 1623 Brewing not long ago, and he's been brewing in Colorado for over 10 years. And that was one of the things that he mentioned out there. They're so involved with the community. Most of their breweries, it's the old style English pub. That's where everybody went at the end of the day, and that's where, events started. He said, you pick the closest brewery before you go to a concert, or you do a bike ride or a run, and it starts or ends there, and just the community involvement. And that was something he said, that he was surprised how close Maryland was to that kind of community connection, it is in Colorado. But that's something he'd like to see breweries doing more of here, and clearly you guys live it.
Yeah, that's great. I should connect with him.
Yeah. Share with everybody, Jon, where they can find you online: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, things like that.
Yeah, of course. So we're Union Craft Brewing on all your social media platforms. You can also find more about the Union Collective at Union-Collective, I believe, on Instagram. We're posting all of our updates there all the time. So plenty of more information there, and also sign up for our email list. We're sending about 2 emails a month out to our list. So check those for sure.
Great. Well, we'll have that available in our show notes and on our website at sharepintpodcast.com. We've learned about the brewery, so let's get to know you a little bit better, Jon. Tell us about your role at Union.
I'm co-founder, one of 3 founders, and my background is in graphic design and marketing and branding. And I had been doing that for almost 8 to 10 years, roughly, before we started Union, or before Union opened. And I am the creative director at Union, and I have a hand in naming every beer and creating the branding, the design, reaching out to the various artists. All of the concepting, everything that you see and feel at Union, I generally have a hand in. Kevin's role is on the liquid side. I'm on the visual side. So the look and feel of the tap room, all the way down to the can that's in your hand. I have had some hand on that as well.
Great. Tell us how you got started in the craft beer industry.
So I had been interested in beer longer than I have been legally allowed to drink. And from my earliest beer memories, I seemed to gravitate towards more flavorful beer than what my peers may have been drinking. I loved Guinness Extra Stout when I was in high school. And then I remember getting my hands on a 6-pack of Blue Moon. And we're talking like 1998. And that particular beer really blew me away. This is in a time when I'm very new to what beer even tastes like. Most of my peers are drinking Bud Lights, and cheap industrial lager. And so Blue Moon really opened my eyes to what beer could taste like. And it kind of started a bit of a beer journey for me. So even through college, I was exploring different styles of beer. And when I landed in a very steady career, working in a cubicle for a corporation doing graphic design for them, I started to feel a little bit burnt out on my career. I expected it to be one thing, 1 year led to the next year, and I didn't feel creatively inspired. And meanwhile, my interest in beer had been growing. I had started to get involved in beer groups and trading for beers that were out of market, and dipping my toe into home brewing. So it was really, once I was home brewing, and I think every Tuesday night going to Max's or getting involved in a bottle share, that's when that sort of started to really take over. And I started to formulate some ideas about getting into the beer industry. Initially, I thought I might want to open a specialty bottle shop. And I remember sort of going down that path a little bit and working on a bit of a business plan for a specialty bottle shop. And right around that time, I met Adam Benish, my partner. He's the CEO of Union. And we met at a mutual friend's wedding. And he started telling me about the beer cellar he had at his house that he had been trading for years, and he had dozens and dozens of bottles that I was interested in trying. And so we made plans for me to go over there and pop some tops, and we had a great bottle share that evening, and we started to hang out almost weekly. And that's when I brought up the idea of opening a brewery in Baltimore. And he told me about his college friend, Kevin. Kevin and Adam went to the University of Maryland together, and Kevin had left college to become a brewer and had been a brewer for almost 8 years at that point and was winning awards at GABF. He was working for Gordon Biersch at the time, so he had this great German beer knowledge and technique. And he said, Kevin and I have been talking about the same thing for a very long time. Let's give Kevin a call and see if he's ready to do something. And so we did, and Kevin transferred from the Chicago location of Gordon Biersch to the Rockville, Maryland location of Gordon Biersch. And the three of us got to work on the concept of union. And one of our biggest criteria was that union had to be in Baltimore City. A production brewery hadn't opened in Baltimore City in 30 years before union. And we really felt like the craft beer movement was really taking off all around us, but seemed to be kind of just trickling in Baltimore. And, we had a vision for what we thought people would like to see. They just didn't know it yet because they hadn't experienced it. But between me and Adam and Kevin, we had traveled to Colorado and San Francisco and Vermont and all of these places that had great craft beer scenes. And so we had a good base knowledge of what we wanted to bring to the Baltimore scene. And so in 2011, we opened the doors to union, and I think our first batch was done the summer of 2012. Duckpin came out, and that's the beginning of it all.
It's really cool to kind of hear how you guys came together. And I know that Kevin is kind of a big classic styles guy, and obviously you mentioned his background for the German beers. Right away, it went back to me thinking about Zach at 1623, and I'm thinking there's got to be a collab with you guys coming in the near future, because Zach is a big classic styles guy. He's got a lot of medals from GAB Fest and other things for Hefeweizen and Pilsners. And so, hearing Kevin recently talk about the Kolsch 54, and I was like, there could be a really great, collab coming between you guys in the near future.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to imagine that this current situation with COVID, probably the biggest challenge you guys have faced. So share with everybody what's kept you guys committed during these times.
Oh, well, we feel like I've said before, we feel like we need to be here and to be solid for the community and for our staff. In good times and bad, people turn to beer. And we're going to continue to put our hearts and our passion into the liquid that we've created. You can always rely on us. And I think that's really important. And speaks a lot for the kind of beer we make and how we make it and our approach to it. We want you to know that no matter what's going on in the world, you can always rely on a solid beer from us. We try to avoid a lot of the hype that is, currently very pervasive in beer. And we're going to be there for you, whether it's through just our liquid or just our leadership and guidance through this as best that we can. I mean, nobody knows how to navigate this, but, we feel like we are often kind of the calmer heads in the discussion. And, we just hope that people know that union is there for them, in whatever capacity we can provide. So we're definitely continued to be a dedicated brewery to making great beer and making it accessible and approachable. And then we're always very creative. And so we've got some fun and cool, exciting things that are getting ready to come out and in the future. And so our heads are definitely still in the game, and we're definitely looking down the line at what's going to come. We're not just staying still because of COVID. We're still moving forward.
Well, I think you've done a good job of sharing with our audience a lot of the things that you do within the community and showing ways that you care. And so I think that that's a huge factor going into being there, as opposed to just saying it. Like you said, you guys are backing it up. You guys are doing more than just producing great beer. You're doing things for the community and looking out for other people. So I think it's fantastic. And that's part of why I wanted to have you guys on, to really share that, because you can't say that with every brewery. And it takes tough choices, as you know, to stay true to that. But that's one of the things I've always respected about you guys, is you're very true to what you believe in, and you're not going to change whether it be someone else doesn't do it that way or the community thinks something differently, what the public says. You are committed to doing things a certain way, and I respect that.
Thank you very much. I would say that I think the majority of people in the craft beer industry, their hearts are in the right place, and I think that we are just fortunate that we have access to resources and a big space and some things that others may not have, even though their intent would be to be able to offer more. But in these challenging times, you gotta work with what you have. And we were able to turn our tap room into a blood donation site for Red Cross at one point during this.
Oh, cool.
Not something that we promoted. It was just something that we could do. So, it's just doing the right thing when the opportunity comes.
Absolutely. And we've kind of touched on this a little bit, but, expand on anything you feel this is what's contributed to your success.
What has contributed to our success? I think just being a solid, honest brewery that is making beer for the people. It's not all about Instagram. It's not all about, rarity. It's accessible beer. Our mission had always been to get more people to come to craft beer. And we really focused on that. Our core lineup really reflects that. And then we want to be champions of Baltimore, always. We love Baltimore. It's a troubled city. And, we hope that we can be a beacon of light, in the city and make people proud. And that's all we try to do every day.
That's great. And I think you guys are doing a great job with it. So, we got to keep that up. So, remind everybody again where they can find you guys online.
So look us up at unioncraftbrewing.com, at Union Brewing, on most of the social platforms. Find us there.
Great. Well, we'll have that available on our website and on our show notes. Well, Jon, I want to thank you for your time. I hope that you and everybody at Union stays healthy and busy. And then I look forward to a time in the near future when you and I can share a pint in person.
Definitely. Thanks for chatting with me, Jerry. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Share a Pint is released bi-weekly on Friday mornings and can be found at shareapintpodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter at share_pint. Show notes for this episode are available at shareapintpodcast.com. Music for the show, Groundwork, provided by Kevin MacLeod and can be found online at incompetech.com. Share a Pint is made possible by help from the Community Media Center of Carroll County. Associated with the craft beer industry and have an interesting story you'd like to share on a future episode? Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. You can reach us at shareapintpodcast.com or email us at jerry@shareapintpodcast.com. Until the next time we share a pint, I'm Jerry Hulla. Prost.